The 3-year-old girl basically cut off the end of her thumb in a door jam, sheared it off. And so fortunately, the father called me before the surgeons had it, what they would have done was they cleaned it up and put a graft on it. They would have covered the wound with a graft. That thumb would have been abnormal for life. So that little girl, the father called me. We said, just reattach that piece that came off. And in a book that I wrote, to Supercharge Power Tools for Health, we actually could see the suture marks, see the sutures. And the tip of the finger is black and it's purple. It's black. There's no blood supply. She used magnetic field therapy for an hour and a half to 3 hours a day. 12 weeks later, she's regrowing her whole finger, including her nail. So the magnetic field therapy dramatically accelerated the healing process. She did nothing else for that thumb other than applying the magnetic field therapy.
Did the biologic graft, if you will, or the biologic dressing of the covering of the thumb, did that eventually slough, molt off, or as new tissue generated? Was that the process?
Totally. So it became like a scab essentially.
Yeah.
So as the blood vessels grew into the dead tissue, as they moved from the living tissue, they basically crowded out the dead tissue, and that eventually, as you said, became a scab and just sloughed off.
I do want to say briefly that there are techniques where, given enough speed, with getting an emergency neurosurgeon team together or plastics team together, with loops, they can reconnect the neural tissue and the vessels with, it can't be like a shearing injury where there's too much trauma. It has to be a nice clean cut where they can reattach a segment, and that is able to be viable. The key here, though, is that now we have another tool to give us a little bit of an edge, even if we had that neuro surgeon and that plastics team available.